Dear friends, I hope you all are well and keeping safe. Today I'm going to talk about two very important aspects of human behavior: discipline and planning. I know you may say that topic is too heavy, there are many books written on this, or you may say there are plethora of information available on internet. You are absolutely right. And I have no intention whatsoever to give you another boatload of information. Rather, what I want to do is share with you my own life experiences. And if you want to hone the skills, I want to let you know that it's not difficult. All you got to do is master one keystone habit, and everything else will fall in place. So let's delve right into it and see it for yourself. I'm sure in life you must have met few people who have complete control over their life. They have a plan, they execute on that plan. But most importantly, if that plan fails, these kind of people they bounce back, they don't sulk. They have a plan B. They work on the plan B. If the plan B fails, they bounce back again. They have a plan C. If the plan C fails, they again course correct themselves to look for things that are important for them where they can get success. They never give up. These kind of people, we say they are enthusiastic people, they are optimistic people, they have a clarity in life. And as individual, if you want to mimic them, we always believe it's too hard. It's ingrained in their system. They've learned it over a period of time, either from childhood days or in schools. They've gone to the best of the schools, for example. They know how exactly to deal with it. Maybe it's not my cup of tea. If you're thinking in that manner, you're absolutely wrong because it is not hard, or any one of us can inculcate that within ourselves. To explain that, I will give three different examples: one from my own childhood days, second from my current working environment, and third is an example I want to take from the industry. When I was growing up, my dad's office had one quote at the back of the wall that said, "If you have nothing to do, don't do it here." It was kind of intriguing to me. It kind of stayed with me till today. And what it basically meant was my dad was a no nonsense guy. He didn't want anyone to come to his office and hang around. If you come there, come with a purpose, come with a particular aspect of what you want to get done with me or with yourself. Also, I want to let you know that because of his Air Force background, he was completely disciplined. He got up on time, exercised on time, went to office on time. He did everything from our from our vantage point perfect, right? He has a schedule. He's to almost always is to stick to the schedule he had. Also, one of the very interesting feature I've seen in my dad is to keep a log of everything. All the expenses, he had a log. He had a log of our schedules. He had a log of what he wanted to do in his life, so on and so forth. One thing that I borrowed from my dad really in the early childhood days was that log. In fact, I was a big collector of everything. I used to collect books, I used to collect comics, I used to collect stamps, coins. And what I used to do is when I'm collecting those, I used to keep a log of everything. I had a log of all the comics I bought, from Asterix to Tintin to Twinkle, which are Indian comics, to Amar Chitra Katha. I had a log of everything. When did I buy it? All the movies I have seen, I had a log of everything. I used to keep a log of when I watched it, who was the director, who were the actors, so on and so forth. That particular behavior kind of stayed with me. That habit went along to my school and college days. So in school, right in the start of the academic year, I had a plan for the whole year, broken down into semesters, to months, to days. And not all the plans were perfect. I used to miserably fail, but then it was in front of me as I was noting them down. And then I used to course correct, keep correcting them, but I always used to have a plan. What I've realized in my life till today is that without plan, I cannot succeed. I have to have a plan. Before I tell you about the consequences of those plans, or in the advantages I have gotten from those small learnings that I have, let me take the second example, which is from my work life. Whenever I interview someone for either to work under me, or for a subordinate, or for my subordinates, or for my teammates team, I look for two aspects in the interview. One is the aptitude, which is required to do the job, but most importantly what I look for is attitude. In my opinion, if the person is the right aptitude level, you can teach him any skill. You can send him to training schools, or he or she can learn accordingly. But what is very difficult to teach a person is an attitude. These are ingrained habits which you are kind of getting it way early in your life. It's not that you cannot change later in the life, but in the job, I do not have the time and energy to change someone in his attitude. And why attitude is important? Because in my personal opinion, if the person has the right attitude, everything else can fall in place. I call them as keystone habit. If you have the right attitude, you can you can teach him the right skill, you can teach him discipline, You can teach that person how to, for example, do their job better, right? But you need to bring in the right attitude. You have to bring the hunger into the whole game. I'll tell you another very important aspect what I've learned in my 20 years of career working, that all these successful people that I've seen in my career, as well as in my ecosystem of play, the company I work for and otherwise, the successful people not always comes from the best of the school. I have seen that the successful people, regardless of what school they come from, they exhibit one habit for sure, which is attitude, having the right attitude, having the hunger and the skill to learn. So people who have shown that have always succeeded, whatever I have seen in my 20 years of career. Now let me move to the third example before I bring them all together. This is again from the book Power of Habit, written by Charles Duhigg. I have recorded about 4 videos on this. It's on my YouTube channel. One of the example I took in one of the videos is about Paul O'Neill. If you recall, Paul O'Neill was the CEO of Alcoa, and he changed the company completely. One of the things that the author has said about Paul O'Neill was that this person used to create a plan for everything. When he came into Alcoa, the first thing he did was, before he made that big announcement that I'm going to focus on safety, he made a list of everything that is important for Alcoa. Why was Alcoa failing? Why are they losing deals? Why were the employees all dissatisfied? What was going on? He kept it. He took notes after notes. He made a plan. He took all the notes, then he made a plan, and he executed on the plan. He did the same thing when he was in the government job. He was responsible for healthcare. He created a plan in the US government in terms of how do you ensure that the health access. I think he worked on many aspects. One of the most important aspect he worked is stopping death during pregnancy for teenagers. So he worked on that. Again, he made a plan, and through that plan, he took notes, he made a plan, and through that plan, he knew what exactly he wanted to execute on. So how I want to summarize this entire thing. So if you want to bring that particular person in your life who has a plan, who never give up, who has a picture perfect life, if not, the plan doesn't work, he or she again pulls back into another plan. If you want to get into that, one thing that you can start doing is very simple: create a list of everything. Even today, at this stage of life I still make plan. I have planned for everything. For example, when the new year start, I have a plan for the entire year. I have a plan for the next 5 years as well. And those plans are broken down by different goals. And those goals are broken down by months, and I track them accordingly. How it basically helps? It helps you immensely, because what happens is, when you draw out the big picture, let's say, a year-long plan, and that big picture, you try to narrow it down to months and months to days, you see a way forward path. Our human minds are a very interesting aspect. It can solve complicated problem, but it need to see a particular pattern. What you do by creating plan is you show a pattern to the brain, and the brain then knows that it has to execute on a plan to reach a particular goal. So you show the destination by showing a abstract or at least a macro level plan. So the macro level plan, when you make a longer plan to achieve certain thing, kind of tells you that this is what my goal for the year is, which is the highest level. And then to achieve that goal, if you break it down into smaller plans, that kind of goes down to the micro level plan, which the brain can decipher and then actually can work upon it. And as you work step by step, when you kind of note down all your progress, you kind of get a reward. For example, you're trying to see that you want to achieve a particular goal. Let's say the goal is you want to, this year you want to exercise. And the goal that you want to set for yourself, I'm just making it up, is you want to, let's say, lose 20 pounds. Or for example, you can say that I want to get, if you're already shredded, you want to get, let's say, 6 packs, right? So that's your ultimate goal for the year. That's a macro level plan. So the brain already knows that end of the year, there'll be a reward like that. To do that reward, then you break it down by saying that, look, I need to do certain things. For example, I need to exercise at least 5 times a week or 3 times a week. Then you come down to the point by saying that Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, I'm going to work out. And then you set out a time accordingly. And then when you fail certain days, you kind of take a note, because of a list, you're taking a plan. You see that how far you're deviating from the plan, how far you're coming close to the plan, and then you can recalibrate accordingly. The brain is trained to think about the final goal, and you're marching towards it. I use that trick with my kids as well. I tell them that they need to make plans for everything. And it is very important to make a plan. It doesn't matter whether you'll succeed in that plan or not. For all that care, if you make 20 goals for you, let's say 19 of them doesn't work out. Even if one works out, your brain gets a hope. So all you got to do is make a plan. Now, if I want to correlate the entire three stories I've given you, all of the list making that I did for my childhood days, all of that plan that I made during my school days, and till today the plan that I make kinds of kind of gets me going. It tells me exactly that I have a set goal in my life which I want to achieve, which makes me enthusiastic, which makes me hungry, which gives me a set goal in life. If you see in work as well, that's exactly the successful people. They have a plan to execute. They don't go like headless chicken. They have a plan. If you're in sales, you have a target to meet, then you have to create a plan how to meet your target. Or if you're in delivery, for example, if you are, I'm talking about IT, that's the world I belong to. If you have to deliver certain projects, for example, you make plan and you break down those plans to smaller plans accordingly. Similarly, if you're looking at Paul O'Neill, exactly what he did was he made a list and a plan and he execute on the plan. So if I have to summarize this entire video for you to achieve something in your life, if you want to get back into the rhythm of discipline and planning, you have to make goals, you have to make macro plans, micro plan, and go down to the daily plan. It is okay to fail. You recalibrate yourself, you will calibrate as you move along, and you'll see that how you're achieving your goals. And as you do that, what you don't realize is that you get discipline automatically. You may be deviating from your plan, but as you try to do it day in and day out, you try to come back to the mode of getting job done, and that's when you get the mojo back, get your discipline back. And that's exactly what I was trying to say. Making a list is the keystone habit. If you start making list of what you want to achieve, let's say for example in a week or in a day or in a month or in a year, and try working towards it, you are forming a keystone habit which can change many things underneath it. I hope you like it. I would always love to hear back from you. So please feel free to leave behind your comments, thoughts, and viewpoint. Thank you once again for listening. Take care. Bye now.